Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we'll be talking about several large storm systems. This is just two tiny clusters of storms that will be pretty much an everyday chance across the Midwest, portions of the South, the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, and yeah, many, I don't even know what to describe it, just an extremely active, almost chaotic lake pattern across the United States. The tropics are going to be extremely active. They're going to be acting like conveyor belts of moisture. Whether or not they actually don't, form into hurricanes, it doesn't matter. They're going to be supplying tons of moisture into the Midwest. And obviously, if they do form into hurricanes, that does matter, right? But I was just saying, based on it's not all just whether or not it's a storm or not. They're impacting the weather either way. But obviously, if a storm does develop, which seems more and more likely, it's obviously a bigger concern. But yeah, if you guys, by the way, if you're new to this channel, you will like these videos. Consider subscribing at any time. Consider liking the video. Obviously, first check it out. Don't subscribe just because I told you so. But yeah, if you have any comments, also leave them down below. I get to a lot of them, and let's start talking about this. So first off, I want to show you the radar and what is going on right now across the United States. It's relatively quiet. I mean, the Northeast, the Southeast is a bit active. The West, it's not terribly active. The only area that obviously pops out is, well, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and when you're under one of these storms, well, definitely seems like it's active. And I want to show you the evolution of these systems. So there was two distinct little lines. And notice the first one was more across Wisconsin, Green Bay, Oshkosh area into Milwaukee, and then look, Rochester into Waterloo, Iowa, right? So these kind of formed, they raced through the day. Notice 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, big beasts. And it was extremely humid, extremely hot. It got way hotter than they thought it would. It was going to be a hot day nonetheless, from 89 to 90 here, but it got up almost to 100. The heat index was 105. But look at that. So this one started decaying, right? And it started showing out these little thunderstorms. Look at them. It was so buoyant, the atmosphere, that these were just pretty much boiling. They were just little bubbling storms. And again, they had absolutely no trouble making their way into large storms, large clusters. These weren't severe warmed, but this line was. And I just want to show you something really cool. This is something when I was watching these storms track across our area. Notice what we have, right? An outflow boundary right here, marked on the radar with a little bit of green. That is mainly just some winds, and notice that it's going from the north to the south. Look at this cluster right here, right? It struggled to make a thunderstorm. It did for a little bit of shower activity. Hold on, I wasn't trying to look at that one. I was trying to first show you this one. Right there, right? So there it is. There's our outflow boundary. They interact right around this area. And as soon as they interact, look what happens. That thunderstorm just blows up across Lake Michigan. Very heavy rain. Again, torrential downpours. Now look at this one. This is the second example. I already showed you at an accident. But there's our outflow. And you can't really see it that well on this radar, but it was very defined. And there's our storms. As soon as they interacted, boom, an interaction of, extreme proportions. And just, I was kind of under this area, right? And I was just watching the clouds condense and form. It was truly something I haven't seen in a while, especially in the very dry year it's been for my area. So, yeah, and look, I mean, we have potentially, more lines of storms developing in the evening. Again, some of these may be a bit weaker as they've been kind of taking away some of this juice from these storms, but notice one in Michigan, just a lot of rain, and it's actually raining right now as I listen, and it was truly a torrential downpour. And I want to show you the expansive area of heat across the South. I mean, look into the Mississippi Valley, into the Mid-South, Illinois, almost into the Chicago area, into Indiana, Ohio, Iowa, a lot of areas seeing decent amounts of rain, heat. And obviously, I'm just zooming in on this area because this is where the storms are occurring, because I want to show you some of these advisories and warnings. So notice these are just for marine warnings, basically for winds and some of that heavy rain, but they aren't really the severe ones, the ones that are across the city. But if you were to take a look further west into Rockford, let's take a look at this warning. The biggest threat with this is wind. It's not horrendously, I mean, sometimes it could be 70, 80 miles per hour. This is like a low grade severe thunderstorm warning, but it definitely has a lot of rain and potentially some hail as well. And you could see that there have been where the areas you saw kind of those thunderstorms training, there have been some reports of flash flooding, and you can see there's a flash flood warning going on here, and probably 2 or 3 inches have fallen here. Yep, an estimated 2 or 3 inches, 2 or 3 inches of rain have fallen, and it's one or two more are possible. And the reason I'm just focusing in on this is not because I'm a location bias, well, maybe a little bit, but this could be repeating itself pretty much day to day across the Midwest. Maybe not across the same locations, but somewhere in the Midwest, the Northeast, Ohio Valley, and I want to show you this. So this is the European model. And by the way, the models have a really bad handling of this. Notice this is what the European model showed today for the evening hours. Look at that. This is what it showed at around 7 p.m. It is now 6 when I'm recording this, and obviously the radar looks way different. So, these models, they do a good job, but they can't take all the credit. They're not perfect. It did show some activity tomorrow in the early morning hours, which, again, I wouldn't be surprised to see some more stuff erupting during the overnight hours across various locations. Notice stretching all the way from Kansas all the way into southern Canada. And if you were to take a look into Thursday and see what the European model is showing, notice that right there we see at around, this is again 18, every time you see the 18Z and a 00Z, it's the afternoon hours. Notice Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, Ohio seeing some rain, and then during the overnight hours it continues. It doesn't weaken during the overnight hours, and then into Friday during the day it does almost weaken, but in the evening hours again more eruption of storms, various line segments, bowing echoes, and look, by Sunday we have this continuous bouts of rain across again very similar locations: Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, and into Pennsylvania, the Northeast. And this is where things start getting very interesting. So we do have this very, very large low pressure. It develops a very strong cold front. All models pretty much show that, some a bit more aggressively than others, but look at that. That is big. And at the same time, we see a tropical storm of some kind, maybe a hurricane, some models show. And notice that this brings a lot of moisture with it. And you can see the storms still continue across the Midwest. And some models show this front and this system interacting. That would bring quite a bit of severe weather potentially for the South. Others, you could see this doesn't really take a northeast hook after it makes landfall. It just kind of goes straight to the north, meandering. Definitely does pick up the eastward direction, but the Midwest, the Northeast, the Southeast still staying wet and active, and the Southwest is included in this. Now, the European isn't overly excited about the pattern. I mean, it is in general, but it's not as much as some of the other models, which I'll show you. Obviously, for where that storm occurs, or that hurricane, whatever it may be, some models show that across Texas, like this one shows across the South. Obviously, very heavy rain would occur. But look right there. I mean, days and days of repeated rainfall will obviously lead to a lot of rain. And for example, my area, don't pay attention to specific details. If you were to look at Detroit, around 1.32 inches. That's just an average. It's probably going to be the most active here, but if you get under 1 or 2 thunderstorms like I did today. Yesterday, the European showed 1 inch for the next 10 days, and today alone, in 30 minutes, I got 1.5 inches of rain. So and I might not get any more for the next week, or I might get continued rainfall amounts. So it's just tough to tell, right? But obviously, if you live across, say, the West, lesser chances. This model is saying that Oklahoma, Missouri may be a bit drier. I would not say that you're not going to see any rain. I think that this model is underdoing some of that. Let's take a look at the more excited models. So like the GFS, and let's see if the newest model went in. Okay, it goes out to 306 hours. Let's see what it shows. Again, look, there's our rain chances today, tomorrow. You can see there's the date, 25th. So tomorrow, another active day across the Northeast, southern Canada. Then it starts erupting across the plains on Thursday. It could be a very big day for severe weather and just really heavy rain. And as we push this forward, notice into Saturday, Sunday, pushes into Wisconsin, southeastern Canada. Again, erupting as a cold front now across the Dakotas and the upper Midwest yet again. And you can see that the GFS does develop that system, a very powerful one across southern Canada, a decently strong cold front, and look what it does with that hurricane tropical storm like system. It makes it very intense, and that's actually shocking because the model run just prior to this showed a system. And you see, this is what I mean. You can see it's a lot weaker. The one that just came out has a 940 millibars. This one's 991, which still could be a Category 1 hurricane, maybe a strong tropical storm. But look at all that moisture it supplies, and it goes very far inland before it starts curving. right? This model keeps it a lot stronger, this newest one. And let's see what it does. So look, it brings, I mean, that would be honestly a nightmare. That strength of a hurricane across Texas. And the thing is with this system, that it's big. It's not like Henri or Henry that had little capabilities of storm surge because of how small it was. This thing is large, and all models agree on that. This thing's a beast. So once this starts, if it was this strong, that would be a catastrophe, to be honest with you. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But notice it goes straight south. It just kind of brings in day and day after moisture across Texas. Look at that, into New Mexico, Oklahoma, the Southwest. And notice that again, there is a lot of activity across potentially the upper Midwest. And then look, we see a storm using that moisture from the storm erupt across the Great Plains and into southern Canada, bringing probably, again, more precipitation, more rain. And look across the east, we see another storm, maybe not a hurricane, but a kind of a modified nor'easter. Yeah, definitely a lot of activity. And just to show you that the last model run, starting from that hurricane, right, it showed a completely different switch. It showed that moisture more towards the south and a lot more of it across the northeast, the mid-Atlantic, or sorry, the kind of the northern Great Lakes. And it did show another one into Mexico. So you could see, I mean, just storm after storm right there across the Gulf, and just these large bands of rain, these showers, and thunderstorm complexes. And again, some of these may not look impressive, but that's may this is what it shows on the model. But then if you were to take a look at the radar, this is what it shows on the radar. And you can see that's definitely a impressive system. And if you get under one of these little cells, yeah, you're gonna feel the brunt of that very heavy rain. So again, this is what's going on right now. I just want to show you this. Yeah, this wasn't really forecasted. The European had struggled, to show this 24 hours in advance. So it's hard to say what the models will show 300 hours out. But regardless of which model you look at, they show a lot of big storms. And, some of them they agree a bit more on. Like this one, less further out where exactly the cells occur, strongest rainfall. It's a bit of a mystery. But if you're to take a look at this and put this forward, again, it's likely that we'll see rain, heavy rain across the upper plains, Midwest into this weekend. And what we're really confident about is this giant storm developing. You can see all three models do it in a very striking similar fashion, and a strong cold front. Notice the European does develop a strong tropical storm that would probably be a hurricane. And look how big that is. Again, it's not like Henri, just the size of, say, New Jersey. It's really like the hurricane force winds or whatnot, the tropical storm force winds. This one is much bigger, probably the biggest one that has made landfall in a while. Maybe Laura was around that size. The one that hit Louisiana last year. Honestly, though, I think that this one would be even a bit bigger. Regardless of what happens, it seems to be a big storm in terms of its size, strength, a bit uncertain. Obviously, though, notice a lot of moisture brings in with this. Thankfully, quicker moving, so maybe there won't be the destructive flooding. There will be some nonetheless. And notice that again, like the other models, it feeds it directly into the system of the kind of the weather pattern that kind of is just going on without the tropics, right? The northern jet stream, and again the plains, Minnesota, Iowa, just seeing more rain. And yes, some of this will be very heavy, obviously, especially here. Some of that could be reaching 12, 16 inches, which all the models show very heavy rain, but that's a concerning sign. But again, if this storm takes a track through Oklahoma, expect a lot of rain. If it takes it through the south, don't expect much rain here, but a lot of rain here. But yeah, you can see that the northern U.S. generally, whichever model you look at, it's a bit more confident with that rain. Again, the European or the southern U.S. is just a bit more jumpy. Each model doesn't really agree on it. But again, the northern U.S. seems to luck out with all of this. If you need that rain, obviously, speaking of that luck. If you live across the Texas, the Southwest, the South, and you're just wondering when this system is most likely to occur, again, a lot of uncertainties, but it's most likely that this system, it's not that far out, and I'll show you on this radar here. If it were to occur, and a lot of models, do show it, all three do show it, just different intensities and locations, it will most likely occur at around early next week, and around this week, around a week from today. Okay, they just keep simply put. And according to this model, around Wednesday. According to the European model, let's take a glance at this. I do apologize. This video is a bit all over the place. I was just tracking the rain. I was outside jumping around from window to window like I like I do. And notice that the European shows a weaker system, but it shows one nonetheless. And it happens on the Monday time frame. So again, just a bit earlier than what the GFS shows, and that makes sense. The GFS shows it further towards the west, so it would probably take a bit of a longer time to get there. Canadian GDPS, I showed you this model again. All of them I did show you. And this one makes landfall with it around Monday. So again, roughly around a week from today, that storm may be somewhere in the Gulf. Again, intensity, where, that's a bit uncertain at this point. So expect a lot of rain. Again, the temperatures, for those folks wondering, what will the temperatures be? It's been very hot, and unfortunately, with that pattern, with those storms, it's most likely to continue. Notice that this is the GDPS, Canadian. I don't really like this one as much as the other ones, but notice it shows more of a warmer pattern towards the south. Maybe a bit too aggressive with that cooler across the northern U.S. Regardless, though, even if it is too aggressive, it keeps it there for a relatively short time. We see anomalies during the day, a bit not as hot during the night. It looks like the nights are going to be much warmer than the days. But you can see as we get further out, it's just cooler where there's cloud cover, obviously, from a tropical storm if it were to occur. And anywhere else, it's definitely more warmer than cool. Stay safe, guys, with all these storms occurring. If you live across, well, really, Illinois, into Michigan and Iowa. These will kind of traverse into Indiana, so definitely a bit of rain chances from that as well. So yeah, just stay safe, stay tuned, guys, and I will catch you all in the upcoming video. But actually, before we do that, I could just show you the HER model, one that goes out 48 hours and is short range. It does a decent job with this. Notice it shows us two clusters. Again, it underdoes that. 6 p.m. This is what it thinks it would look like, and this is what it looks like. So again, yeah, rather inaccurate, but honestly still one of the better models. That's how badly they have handled this overall. Notice more rain develops across Michigan according to this model. Again, would not be surprised if it's further towards the west or east, or just some sort of inaccuracy. This is 8 a.m. tomorrow, 10. Notice across Illinois again to Indiana, continued bouts and kind of areas of rain. By tomorrow late in the day, it does start erupting across more of the northern plains, Iowa, Minnesota, and portions of South Dakota, Nebraska. So a lot of activity nonetheless. So that is basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, an active pattern, a chaotic one. It's like this video, right? Just like this video, chaotic. But yeah, I do my best here, and sometimes I just lose my track when I get too excited. But I'm just looking at my area right now, seeing this thunderstorm threat, where which areas will see additional rain from this, or if I will. So yeah, I'll probably go in a garden right now, refill my rain barrels, and yeah, okay, see you guys on the next episode. Bye.